It started like any ordinary traffic stop. A two-lane road in a quiet rural area, the late afternoon sun casting long shadows across the pavement. A police cruiser idled by the side of the road as a black luxury SUV slowly pulled over. But what happened next would trigger a chain reaction no one saw coming. Officer Daniels stepped out of her vehicle with a firm posture and the kind of attitude that made it clear she liked being in charge. She approached the SUV, one hand near her holster, the other gripping a citation pad. Before the driver could say a word, she snapped, "License and registration." The man inside didn't flinch. He slowly rolled down the window, calm, collected, and wearing a dark, neatly pressed military dress uniform. Medals lined his chest. The Silver Eagle insignia on his shoulder said one thing: he was a U.S. Army general. But Officer Daniels? She didn't recognize the rank. She didn't recognize him. And most importantly, she didn't care. "You're driving suspiciously slow," she said. "Step out of the vehicle." "Is there a reason for this stop, officer?" the general asked, his voice calm but firm. Daniels narrowed her eyes. "You're refusing to comply." And just like that, everything spiraled. Before we dive deeper into what happened next, and trust me, it only gets more intense, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're into real-life stories with power shifts, wild twists, and justice served when you least expect it. What happens in the next few minutes is unlike anything you've seen. General Marcus Ellison had served in 3 combat zones, briefed presidents, and coordinated global operations from inside the Pentagon. But none of that mattered now, not to Officer Daniels, who viewed every question as defiance and every calm tone as provocation. Ellison stepped out of the SUV, slowly, hands visible. "Officer," he repeated, "I'm not resisting. But I do believe I have the right to know why I've been stopped." "You want to play games?" she said, pulling out her handcuffs. "Let's play." And in a matter of seconds, a 4-star general had his wrists bound behind his back, standing on the side of the road while cars passed by, some slowing to stare, others speeding off, oblivious to the scene unfolding. Daniels radioed for backup, still unaware of who exactly she had just detained. And that's when Ellison, with her permission, asked to make a call. She smirked. "One call. Like it'll help." He nodded, took out his phone, and dialed. But here's where things start to shift. Because the person who picked up wasn't a lawyer. It wasn't a relative. It was a direct Pentagon security liaison, a man who answered with, "Sir. Are you safe? What's your current status?" Ellison responded calmly, "I'm being detained. Roadside. No charges disclosed. Civilian officer. I need clarification sent through proper channels immediately." Daniels laughed. "The Pentagon? Please. You think I'm gonna fall for that?" But she didn't know what was coming. And neither did the 2 backup units who arrived just minutes later, expecting a routine situation, only to be met with a military official quietly standing with cuffs on, a police officer visibly annoyed, and a growing sense that something was very wrong. While they stood there, a black SUV with government plates rolled onto the scene. 2 men in dark suits stepped out, badges raised. "We're here on behalf of the Department of Defense. Release him. Now." Daniels didn't budge. "You've got no jurisdiction here." But they did. What Officer Daniels didn't understand, what she failed to check, was that General Ellison was not only active duty, but also protected under federal protocols during authorized travel. His identity had been verified at the federal level within minutes of his phone call. Her continued detainment had already triggered a chain of internal alerts. But before I reveal how this situation ended, and trust me, the fallout was massive, let me ask you something personal. Have you ever felt like the world just doesn't recognize who you are? Like no matter what you've achieved, someone's always trying to push you down, ignore your worth, or make you feel powerless? There's a reason you're here, hearing this story. And if you've ever felt blocked or overlooked, it might be time to unlock something bigger than just motivation. There's a code, a simple 3-digit manifestation code, that can help align your mind with wealth, opportunity, and success, all within the next 24 hours. It's based on Nikola Tesla's breakthrough principles and is changing lives right now. It's called the 369 Manifestation Code, and the link is waiting for you in the first pinned comment. If you're ready to step into your true power, check it out after this video. Now, back to the roadside. General Ellison stood tall. Silent. Unbothered. While Daniels argued with the federal agents, trying to justify her actions, refusing to release him unless she got confirmation from her captain. But confirmation was already on its way. Within 10 minutes, a government vehicle pulled up, this time, military plates. A uniformed colonel stepped out and approached Daniels directly. "You've detained a high-ranking officer without cause. You've violated interagency protocol. Stand down, now." Her face went pale. She stepped back, stammering. Ellison, still calm, looked her in the eyes and said only 6 words. "I told you I wasn't resisting." She reached for the cuffs, hands trembling, unlocking them in silence. But it wasn't over. Not even close. The moment General Ellison's cuffs were removed, the silence was heavier than any shouting could have been. The tension between authority and arrogance had finally reached its breaking point. But the consequences? They were just beginning to surface. The federal agents escorted General Ellison back to his SUV, opened the door for him, and one of them said, "You're free to continue your official route, sir. We'll handle the rest." But Ellison didn't leave right away. He stood at the edge of the road, facing Officer Daniels as she tried to compose herself, her face drained of color, her hands now twitching as adrenaline wore off. Her superiority, her certainty, her control, it was all gone. He spoke calmly, but every word landed with force. "I've led operations in 4 continents. I've negotiated peace where others demanded war. And here, in my own country, I get treated like a criminal for asking a question." Daniels couldn't respond. There was nothing to say. One of the federal agents approached her. "We'll be filing an official report. You'll be contacted by Internal Affairs and the DOJ by the end of the day. We strongly suggest you prepare." The squad cars that had arrived for backup suddenly felt like props in a play that had turned tragic. The other officers quietly stepped away, some looking down, some refusing to meet Ellison's eyes. By nightfall, Daniels was suspended from active duty pending investigation. Body cam footage had captured everything, every unjustified order, every verbal escalation, every refusal to listen. The video spread like wildfire inside government circles, and eventually, it leaked. Within a week, news outlets picked it up. Decorated U.S. Army general wrongfully detained during routine traffic stop. Pentagon issues statement on disrespect of protocol and rank. Police officer under fire after arresting active duty general without cause. And the public? They didn't hold back. Social media lit up. Veterans groups posted messages of support for Ellison. Military families demanded answers. Even politicians began using the case as an example of what happens when personal ego overshadows professional responsibility. But here's the twist that no one expected. General Ellison never sued. Never gave a press conference. Never posted a video. Instead, he sent a quiet letter to the police department. In it, he wrote, "I don't need headlines. I've seen too many of them in my life. I don't want apologies. I want accountability. Train your officers. Teach them what respect looks like. Not for medals, but for people." That letter was later published internally, then anonymously leaked, and it struck a nerve. The department launched a full overhaul of its training programs. Daniels was officially dismissed after the investigation concluded she acted with gross negligence, abuse of authority, and disregard for established protocol. She disappeared from the force, and from public life. But the impact of that one encounter, on that quiet road, under a clear sky, was far greater than she ever anticipated. And that brings us to the heart of this story. We live in a world where power is often assumed based on appearance, tone, or title. But real power? It's quiet. It's patient. It doesn't shout, it moves with purpose. General Ellison didn't retaliate with rage. He responded with grace and resolve. And in doing so, he exposed a deeper truth. That those who act above the law are eventually humbled by it. And those who serve with integrity? They don't need to prove anything, their presence speaks louder than any badge ever could. So the next time someone underestimates you, let them. Just make sure you know who you are. And when the time is right, remind them. If this story moved you, if it made you think, or if it reminded you of the quiet strength you carry inside, hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment below. Have you ever been underestimated? How did you respond? Let's talk about it. We read every story. And remember, if you're ready to take back control of your life, if you feel like it's time to break through the noise and manifest the success you know you deserve, check out the 369 manifestation code in the first pinned comment. It's a simple 3-digit code that's helping people unlock wealth, peace, and clarity faster than ever before. Sometimes it just takes one decision. One shift. One phone call. To change everything.